This is AI Jim Ross, and you're about to listen to Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast. This show is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Don't be a slapdick and get offended by anything on this show. And hey, slap nuts, if you do get offended, that's a you problem.
Hi, everybody. This is Jim Cornette, pro wrestling legend, and you're listening to the Booking the Territory unprofessional wrestling podcast.
This is the artist formerly known as Daryl Van Horn, James Mitchell, the Sinister Minister, and I'm here to let you know I would rather slam my cock in a car door than to miss the dulcet tones of Hard Body Harper, my illegitimate son, on Booking the Territory podcast.
Woo, Messi, this is professional wrestler Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man. Tell my people, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss Booking the Territory. Oh, yeah.
This is a one-man gang. You're listening to Booking the Territory Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast, where today we are doing the go-home show. It's December 26, 1992, Saturday night on TBS. We are a day away from Starrcade. Well, a week away at this point, if you're listening to the show. But I believe Starrcade was the next day. Hell, I don't remember. But if you're listening to this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button on the video. Also, type a comment or two with what you liked or didn't like about the episode. It does help the channel grow. And last but not least, there is no better time to join fellow listeners by becoming a BTT Patreon member, because during this month, our birthday month, which there's only a few days left as of this episode drop date, you still have a few days to get 2 months for free if you go annual, and that offer applies for existing month-to-month patrons and new patrons as well. So if you're a current patron month-to-month, you can move to annual and get 2 months free. Big time shout out to Disrespectfully Classy, Marky Blassie, Mike Childry, Joe Ice, good old Justin for the generous support on Patreon each and every month, along with the rest of the patrons. But those are the largest patrons that we have. Doc, let me welcome you in. We got some news about Harper, and we're going to get to that in a minute, but how are you?
I'm really, really nervous to hear this news about Harper. I just know that he's not here. That always worries me, and it always means that we gotta struggle and dig down deep to get our inner mud show going without him. Other than that, I think I'm doing okay. I want to talk about some things, but I want to start off on the right foot. We usually try to talk about what's important in life. So we want to take a quick minute and do an RIP. Many of you probably already know this, but the wrestling historian, wrestling podcast community lost one of the good ones recently when Scott Cornish, we've heard on the 605 podcast, passed away. It seems like it was from complications of COVID. Yes, in 2024, still COVID. But I didn't know him personally, never interacted with him, enjoyed his work, the Merced Daddy, Jimmy Valiant on the 605. So we want to say rest in peace to him, the whole 605 community, the whole wrestling podcast community. And I know that you actually had some interactions with him. So, Mike, I'll let you say a few words, if you'd like, about Scott.
I liked Scott a lot. He was a nice guy. When I first got involved with 605, don't take this the wrong way, but of course it's going to come across the wrong way. Outside of Brian, Scott was the most welcoming person into the pack of the 605 universe, I guess is what I want to say. Back then it was myself, Brian, obviously, Stutter and Tommy Rich, which is Tom Robinson, who was also really, really still down to earth, really cool with me whenever I exchanged DMs with him. Scott, more than anybody, was just really, really, really super cool. I don't know who friended who first on Facebook. I really don't remember, but I just remember talking to him, interacting with him, and he was always just super duper friendly. Like I don't know. I mean, I never had a cross word with him. Never a crossed interaction. Always it felt like he was, at least with me, very lighthearted. Like he didn't really ever get worked up. We always like to use the term worked into a lather, worked into a shoot. I don't know. I just didn't feel Scott was really like that. He just really seemed like a really, really nice, down to earth dude. I remember having a conversation with him about Smoky Mountain because I think he was there for Night of Legends. I'm getting the cards confused. Yeah, I think it was Night of Legends, and maybe it was a Super Bowl of wrestling too. I can't quite remember, but just remember having Smoky Mountain discussions with him because he did a few of the fan weeks with Smoky Mountain that Cornette did. So I know that's how him and Brian met, I believe, back in '94. And Scott was just really cool to talk to. I just remember talking to him about some Smoky Mountain stuff and New Jack, and it's just all the stuff that we talked about in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. He knew that stuff so well. I remember he told this story, I think on 605 or a podcast he was on. I don't remember which one. He talked about when where he lived, he obviously wasn't getting Smoky Mountain Wrestling. So I forget who it was, would send him the tapes monthly. So each month he'd get like 4 episodes. And he's like, I just remember I couldn't wait to get the 4 episodes. And him saying that to me kind of reminded me of us, or not, well, you originally when you went through the library, but then me too, when it was like, man, we couldn't wait to get to the next episode. It was like, okay, we got to keep going.
How many nights did I come into work the next day and say, I stayed up too late last night till like 12:30 because I couldn't, they caught me at the cliffhanger and I couldn't stop. So I kept watching.
Right. You're sitting there watching on the phone or tablet, like you can't stop watching because the episodic nature of it. You're like, I got to see what happens next. So go to the next episode. Oh, damn. I got to see what happens next. Go to the next episode. So he kind of in the same way, except back when it was VHS and not any type of streaming on YouTube or streaming platform. I forget who was sending in the tapes, but he's like, I couldn't wait to get the next 4 weeks, and I'd burn through them as soon as I got them. And I was like, oh, now I got to wait a month. And he was just a really down to earth, cool dude with me always. I told you right after he passed, I was like, man, I regret, because I remember at one point I wanted to bring him on the show, and I regret just busyness, just never having him on BTT, and now obviously we can't. But he was a wealth of knowledge when it comes to classic wrestling. I mean, he knows a lot about a lot of shit, to be like blunt. And it's really unfortunate, I think he was close to 60 years old, no younger than mid-50s for sure. But I told you after he passed, like, that's too young. Like, we're not far off from that. And I just got RIP Scott, always friendly with me. I thought he had some hilarious moments. I didn't like all his characters. I don't say I didn't like all his characters weren't great on 605, but Handsome Jimmy and Mercy Daddy, then I thought that shit was really good. He used to pop me with a lot of his characters, not every single one of them. And I thought he was one of the funny. Next to Tom Robinson, Tom Stutter and Tommy was ridiculous. Like you can't top Stutter and Tommy the way Tom Robinson did that. But I thought Scott was, right next to him, right, coming up in second with some of his characters. So I was at a loss for words. Like, I saw the update and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, because he posted on Facebook just 2 days before that, maybe, oh man, I'm hunkering down. This COVID ain't no joke. And it made me think when I had COVID, because I remember I don't think you thought I was joking, but dude, that fever blasted me. Like, I had never felt like that in my life. I didn't have trouble breathing, but that fever was the worst fever I've ever experienced in my life. And I just felt lethargic and weak. Never had trouble breathing or anything. So I don't know what the specifics were. I don't know. It really, honestly, at this point, it doesn't matter. RIP Scott, great guy, good dude, and it's just another classic wrestling fan who gone too soon. Let me one other thing, Doc, before I throw to you. We only got so many revolutions around this damn sun and this rock we're on. We have a lot of fun on the show, and we poke fun and bust balls and all that, but nothing is ever, I don't think we ever get too serious where we might say something and it might seem like we're angry about something. We ain't, trust me. And what I mean by that is, like, don't ever work yourself into a shoot. These things, especially with this show, and try not in life to do it, because there ain't a lot of times we go around the sun. And,
this is purely for entertainment purposes, and if it wasn't and it became a chore, you would see 3 smoke outlines of us running away from it. So, like the
I'm
cartoons.
just saying, enjoy your try to enjoy your time, because JR used to always say it on his show, Doc, years ago when I listened, tomorrow is not promised. And this was before his wife passed. So tomorrow's not promised, man. Try to enjoy yourselves, each other, your family, your friends, because we ain't got but one chance at this sucker. And
what about the bookers at work? Should we feel good about them?
I mean, it's a good thing that I'm a good, Christian athlete, because that's the one thing that stops me from going off on them, and you know that, and you too. Yeah, ain't no probably. R.I.P. Scott. We're gonna miss you, and see you on the other side.
I have a something I want to put out there to the Army. I have a proclamation.
Let's hear it.
I think by the time this comes out, I'll be in full swing. This is the year that I get into the Canadian Football League.
Oh yeah, we'll be about 3 weeks into it, by a few weeks into it by the time this airs.
Okay, so I'm planning on. Mike told me what to do to download to get registered on the website and the app so that I can get games for free. I'm going to do that. He's got me prepped on all the silly rules that we're going to be looking at. I know what a rouge is now. And I'm down with a third down, 3 downs to get a first down. I'm good. I've learned that we have an aging but kick-ass quarterback for the Blue Bombers in Nick Collaros.
His name is Zach Collaro.
That's what I meant. And then we have Brady Oliveira, that is the best running back in the league. So I like a good running game. I'm excited. Let's go Blue Bombers. Who's our main rival? Who's our Eagles?
The Saskatchewan Roughriders are.
Man, screw those guys. I have never hated anybody other than the Eagles more than I hate the Saskatchewan Roughriders. If there's one thing I hate, it's everyone who's ever lived in Saskatchewan.
Oh my God.
They are the Satan of Canada.
See, it's weird because, like I was telling you the last time we recorded, you play teams more than 2 times because the league is so much smaller. So
you have to.
You might talk to, I think it's the Rough Riders, but I mean, they're in the same division as the BC Lions, the Calgary Stampeders, the Edmonton Elks as well. So, you're in there with them. And again, you play so many teams, you play teams so much, even in the other division, the East Division, the Ticats, the Alouettes, Red Blacks, Argonauts. Yeah, you could,
It's hard to seeing the same people and beating up on the same people.
Dude,
right?
they beat the hell out of each other a lot, for sure. We'll see, though.
Okay.
You just cursed them. Because now they're gonna turn into the Cowboys.
Bruh, these Canadian Canucks would be happy to have the lineage and the joy that I have experienced as a Cowboys fan in my life. It hasn't happened in a quarter of a century, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened.
Oh God. Okay. Sure enough, Chief.
Okay, so do we want to get to the point where we talk about the fact that we're a third down here and we're missing a superstar? And I think we need to address this because I don't know, man.
How about I just throw it to AI Bill Watts?
I'm fearful of that, but I guess we don't have a choice, do we?
Yeah. Harper was actually late last week, and unfortunately, AI Bill Watts caught a hold of it. And then Harper this week called, and he said he might make it. And then Doc and I are like, so do we wait around till 11 p.m. tonight, or do we just get started at the normal time and go with it? And then AI Bill Watts has our offices bugged, and he was like, no, play this audio, assholes. So here it is.
You sons of bitches just had to try my patience, didn't you? You didn't believe me when I said that I was going to suspend and fine Harper the next time he was late or tardy. Well, you done tested me now. Harper is suspended and fined for being late last week and missing the show a few weeks ago. You tell that coyote-loving jackass that if he doesn't obey my 10 commandments, that I am throwing his ass out on the street. I am so tired of you slap dicks not taking my 1992 wrestling seriously. I got you idiots who can't show up on time, and I got JR plowing Missy in 2024. What has the world come to? Jesus Christ, this is not that hard, guys. Now go do the show before I fine you two numb nuts for aggravating me over petty horse shit.
Jesus.
What a dick.
Dude. What does Harper and JR have anything to do with this? Like, he just had to, that's typical Watts. He's got to take a dig at something that has nothing to do with us.
This is turning into like being at the shoe job, Mike. I got somebody who doesn't understand anything I'm doing telling me how to do things.
Yeah. We need to get AI Gordon Soley on the phone.
This is for the Army out there. If what I just said resonates with you, give me a oh hell yeah.
Oh. make sure you comment on the YouTube episode with a hell yeah on that one.
Jeez. Man, look. Man. We've been running a successful mid-tier podcast for 9 years. I don't know why we've allowed this robot into our midst.
Just wait till he's gone and we end up with AI Bischoff on with us.
Jesus Christ. Can
you imagine that?
A shiver down my spine.
Dude, he would start every single line with, quite frankly, or context is king.
He's going to tell us we don't understand the industry.
Of course.
And that we don't understand the television industry.
I never understood how you could listen to his podcast. It's not that I hate him, because sometimes he's right. I don't know, say sometimes. A lot of times he's right. I mean, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He was in that position. Whether you agree with how he handles things is a different story, but he can tell you the insight on a lot of stuff. But I feel like a lot of times he'll deflect and throw grenades at other people. As I say that, his take on Dave Meltzer is 100% correct usually.
Okay.
He can't stand Meltzer.
No, it's pretty violent.
Oh yeah, it's toxic. That's their word. It is toxic how he feels about Meltzer.
I don't get triggered by it.
It is what it is at this point. To me,
why not?
I see people go back and forth online about Dave. I've got Dave blocked on all forms of social media. I don't want to see Dave's dribble. My thing with Dave is he's dug his heels in, and you're not going to change his mind. So people that go back and forth with him, I just don't understand why you want to waste your life doing that. As Doc sneezes over there and hits the mute button.
I was trying to get to the mute, but this great value laptop that you bought me for the show, the mouse pad doesn't work so well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any other flips and dives before we get into this thing this week, Doc?
Man, I would have preferred to have Harper here for this. This is the go-home show, and we got Starrcade coming up. That seems like a big deal. It'd be nice to have him. I don't know what to do.
Well, we are going to do what we did for many episodes of Smoky Mountain Wrestling before he joined the show, and a good 7 months before he joined BTT as a regular. We're going to just plug right along, if that sounds good with you. How does that sound?
Plugging away is always an option I enjoy.
Plugging. Plowing. Okay. All right. I just shared my video. Let me know when you can see it.
I'm ready, Battle Bowl.
All right. So remember, this is the go home show for Starrcade. This is Saturday night on TBS from December the 26th of 1992. This week's episode was taped again December 7th of 92 at Center Stage. This is the second half of the taping from that day. So what we covered last week was the first half. This is the second half. And it is the go home show before Starrcade 92. I'm always reminded whenever we have a go home show before a pay-per-view how much different today is versus back then, because as we get into it, like, it's not like they did anything ridiculous or, you know, like you would see a lot of times in modern wrestling before a go home show to get people really, really, really excited. It's not that they did a bad job, but it's not like this thing was, you know, spectacular, A++. Not that it was bad. We're going to get into that, but that was my opening thoughts. Doc, any thoughts from you as the show opens?
Well, Larry's wearing a Three Stooges tie this week.
My God, I was hoping Harper was here for that, because this tie is glorious. It's got Larry, Curly, and Mo on it. It's a purple shirt with a black tie with the, I don't even call it silhouette. It's not a silhouette. It's their faces on the tie. It's glorious. If you're watching the video version, you got to see this. It's great. Harper would love this. I'm going to have to send him a screenshot, even though Watts suspended him for this week.
Is that a purple shirt or a blue shirt?
Well, look at the WCW letters behind him. That is a more of a deeper purple. This is kind of like a light purple.
Okay.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Anyway, any thoughts from Larry and JR opening the show as they talk about Bobby Eaton, who's going to take on Ron Simmons today?
I was mesmerized by that tie.
That tie is glorious.
I didn't hear a word.
Would you wear a tie like that?
No. First of all, I'm kind of with like Mark Cuban, and what he said about ties is like, it's an out, like, you want to put on a sports coat or a button-up shirt, okay, but what purpose does the tie serve? It's decorative, and it's uncomfortable, and it's stupid. And so I try to avoid a tie in every situation. I've worn one tie in the last, I'd say 2 ties in the last year. One was for work and one was to a wedding.
Okay. You really, ties trigger you?
I don't like them.
Okay. I don't like dressing up, but the tie part doesn't bother me.
Oh, that's the worst. I don't like dressing up either, but that's like the kick in the shin on top of the prostate exam.
I take it back. Summertime, if I got to put a tie on to go to something,
come on.
I'm going.
What are we doing?
I'm going cursing you out. Winter ain't so bad.
Especially if it's something that you don't really agree with. Like, oh, this is my cousin's friend's wedding, and we got to go.
My God, don't get me started. We need to jot that down, Doc. Write that down. We need to ask Harper his thoughts on wearing ties, neckties.
He doesn't even wear sleeves on his sport coat.
It's
I've
true.
got a Harper file on my notes section of my phone that I use. Harper's thoughts on wearing neckties.
Dude, he
might get that messed up and go like, what, you mean tying something brought up? No, Harper, that's not what we mean.
When he's got those yellow shoes on with the sleeveless jacket and the tie and he's walking around the ring, he's hilarious. Because he's got a goofy looking walk. It's great.
I can't. It's hard to argue with that.
It's glorious. Seek it out on Wildcat's YouTube page as we get closer and closer to Wildcat X-Rated. At the time of us, at press time, the tickets are not on sale, but that's as of us recording it. I'm sure they're on sale right now. They may already be sold out. So go to Wildcat Sports and Entertainment because that is the official BTT meetup for the listeners this year. July 27th. in New Orleans. All right, Doc, let's go. We're already into the first match. Paul Orndorff's taking on Brad Armstrong. I got a very technical match here. It's not bad. Orndorff is being a heel, but it's nothing dastardly in terms of what he's doing in the match.
Can you go back to 4 minutes? And can we watch 35 seconds and have you call the action?
Collar and elbow tie up?
Yeah.
Headlock?
Into a headlock.
Mm-hmm. Orndorff's trying to fight out of it.
Yeah. He's going to reverse it into a, what is that called?
Top wrist lock.
Top wrist lock. They're working for advantage on that. We're 10 seconds in.
Uh-huh. He gets Brad, and Brad is going to go into a bridge, which is hilarious because Orndorff's just holding him and putting him down slowly. Brad's in a bridge, and physically there's an impossible thing that Brad just did. He gets up, fights the top wrist lock.
But look at Orndorff.
Yeah, he's making it look like a struggle, but it's fake as all outdoors. This is what kills me when you hear these old timers sometimes talk about stuff being fake, and then Orndorff fights out of it. He pulls his hair.
Okay, but here's my thing about that. It's all fake. And guess what happened right there? No one got their leg broken there.
Oh, well, of course.
We're dealing with the current product where Eddie Kingston and Edge both have broken legs and surgeries planned and all this stuff. Nobody got their leg broken there.
God bless them, but I have no interest in. I hope they heal quickly. But yeah. Yeah, nobody broke their leg. This is a very, this is what I was saying. It's a technical match. They're like actually wrestling. And Orndorff.
This is a good opener.
It is. And Orndorff.
5:45.
All right, I'll go to it in a second.
Sequence.
Okay. Orndorff's in the head scissors, but Orndorff is doing little things. What I mean by that is he pulls the hair on Brad, like to get out of the top wrist lock. That's how he fights out of it. Now he's in. Do you want audio from this or just we're watching?
But look, he's about to kip up out of this thing.
Yep. Here it comes. And he gets out of it. He doesn't quite do it. And then Brad takes him over into a head scissors as he gets out.
To me, I'm sorry, I'm going to sound 4 million years old. I would be more excited if I tuned in on a Monday or Wednesday or Friday or whenever they're having wrestling and saw some of this than whatever it is they're doing.
No, you wouldn't.
And maybe that's because I was 9 years old in 1983 or whatever, or 1984 or whenever I was 9 years old, 1982. But that's the shit I grew up on, and it's how I want to see it done.
Okay. I think it's a little bit of hyperbole there, but I'm not going to.
You need to shut.
Okay. Any other timestamps before I continue?
No, I have a question, though.
Okay, I got a timestamp at 10:10. You want to ask me?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Hit it.
All right.
Let's see
so what's going to happen? What's going to happen here is we're going to get a hot shot by Orndorff, and I thought Brad was going to miss the top rope. They were so far away. Here it comes. So Brad's working them over, sending them punches. They're in the middle of the ring when Orndorff picks him up, and I'm like, they're never going to make it all the way to the other side, and they barely made it. Orndorff backed up just enough to drop Brad across the top rope, and his neck took the top rope. What were you about to ask me?
If we were going on the house show loop, would this match be the semi-main or the main event?
It might not be semi-main.
No?
See, here's something I don't know if like the average wrestling fan understands when you're talking about just a non-televised show. Man, sometimes you'll throw out your best talents. Not in any type of angle, but in a match that can get the crowd going and into it and get them alive. I was on an indie show one time where I've told you I was on one show once with Ron Simmons when he was not in WCW, right before he goes to WWF and he's with Sonny. He worked R.I.P. Big Richard, who was Lord Humongous. They were in the first match of the night. And Richard was a big dude, damn near 7 feet tall. These two big bastards went out there and just beat the piss out of each other. And Ron Simmons was the biggest name on the card, the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Opening match. It went like 12 minutes. I mean, he earned his paycheck, But it's like you send that out first, and the crowd is they come alive. They're like, holy crap, look at this. What the hell else y'all got back there? We're into it now. So like sometimes you'll send out some of your best talent, especially if it's non-televised, because that was a key there. I need to point that out. You said house show. You didn't say, Saturday night. You didn't say a Nitro, something like that, or a pay-per-view. The key there was non-televised. So, yeah. No, I'm not sitting there to tell you they're going to do that all the time. Let's say Ric Flair's there and Sting's there. They're not putting Ric Flair and Sting in the first match. I'm not saying that. Let's be clear. I'm just saying these two guys, I could definitely see these two guys being right before the semi-main. Or I could see them sending out there first and saying, hey, you two go out there and get this crowd going.
They're first tonight.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's not like Brad's been a champion before, but I mean, it's not like he's high up on the card right now, but he's one of the greatest talents they got in the promotion. Any thoughts before I go to the finish?
No, I think hit it.
So Orndorff kicks out of a roll-up. Brad hits his head on the turnbuckle, and then Orndorff then hits Brad with a German suplex and pins Brad. Notice, no pile driver. I don't know.
I saw that. It was no pile driver and a German, which was not super common back then. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. And that's how he wins. Very, very just interesting because I mean we've obviously seen Paul.
Yeah, I don't have any like good, bad, or whatever. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes things are of interest to me.
We come out of the match and we go to Jim Ross, who's with Barry Windham with these stupid looking sunglasses on still, and Brian Pillman. Let's go to that audio right now from their promo. Here it is.
Much Larry, and 48 hours away, gentlemen, from Starrcade 92. If last week was any indication, it's obvious that both of you are very ready.
It's quite obvious, Ross, and it's also obvious that even though Starrcade is the most prestigious event in wrestling every year, it's a real shame that Barry and I have to wait 48 hours to bask in that championship glory, and it's even a bigger shame that we have to cheat the millions and millions of fans out there who love and adore us and recognize us as true champions. Barry, is there any way we can get a title shot before that 48 hours?
Listen, Ross, it's as simple as this. Now, Shane Douglas and Rick Steamboat don't have the odds in their favor, so they don't have the guts to step into the ring with Pillman and I right now. So what we want them to do, we're going to issue a challenge right now. Before this program is over, if they do have any guts, or if they can get the odds in their favor, maybe they'll show up and step in the ring, and this thing won't have to wait until Starrcade.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, the challenge has been issued, and when we come back, it'll be Dustin Rhodes one-on-one.
Man, Barry looks and sounds like such a prick and jackass in these promos these last couple weeks. The glasses, the stupid looking hairdo. It's glorious in the best way possible. And I thought he was great here. I thought Pillman was great. Your thoughts?
I couldn't agree more. I thought they're in it. I like these two together.
Yeah, they're really good as a team. I mean, forgotten because it doesn't last long. But they're a good tag team in terms of two good heels. Not that Pillman's next partner isn't good because we know who he is, but it is interesting to see these two.
Yeah.
We go to commercial. We come back. We go to Bobby Eaton and Michael Hayes, who are backstage in front of the fake or maybe not fake lockers with Tony Schiavone. Let's go to them now. Here that is.
With you on WCW Saturday Night, got to give the world champion Ron Simmons a lot of credit as we head to Starrcade this Monday. The man has had some tough matches here on WCW Saturday Night, and tonight is no exception. The main event against beautiful Bobby.
You know something, Shivani? We're 2 days away from Starrcade, and everybody around here is on pins and needles, and they are worried about their status after Starrcade. The funny thing is, the most nervous guy happens to be the world heavyweight champion. But I guess that might be understandable, considering that the United States heavyweight champion, Rick Rude, had what he's put you through mentally and physically the last number of weeks. So I guess you're just overlooking us.
Well, I got something for you to think about, world champion. I understand you got a new theme song called Don't Step To, Ron. Well, you ain't got to worry about us stepping to you, because we're going to step through you, then we're going to step on you, then we're going to step over you, then I'm going to send Bobby Lee Eaton to the top rope, and he's going to Alabama Jam his way into immortality. And what we're going to give you is a taste that's going to become real familiar, especially 2 nights from now, the taste of defeat. And you want to know what, Ronnie? There's 2 things you can do about it. Nothing and like it.
Let's go to the ring, fans. Dustin Rhodes in action. Ladies and gentlemen,
Doc, I thought Hayes was a little wild here at times, but I do like how he positioned this with the match.
There's things I like and there's things I don't. I thought the laugh at the end was too cartoonish.
Yeah.
I thought he should have just left it with the nothing and like it. I like how he called Bobby Lee Eaton, because that's his real name, real middle name.
Yeah.
And boy, there ain't nothing more Southern than Bobby Lee or Robert Lee or Robert E. Lee, right? Get it? Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
I also feel like Hayes has put on some weight since he's not a wrestler.
I would agree. If you go back to 1988, before he left and came back to Dallas, he was working like a loop with Flair. If you ever go back and watch those episodes, he's slim and trim. He's not buff, but he's lean is the best way to describe him. He's skinny, almost skinny. I mean, he's not a short guy, but yeah, he's definitely not trim right here. I'm with you though. I was kind of mixed on this because I thought he had some good things here, because I like how he positioned it. He's like, the match at Starrcade is Simmons and Rude, but Hayes is like, you better not overlook Bobby. He's got a point. He doesn't make any promises that Bobby's going to win, but you don't want to look past this man, and we're just going to soften up Simmons for you, Rick Rude. So anyway, we'll see. And Bobby Eaton's a hell of a talent. So there were parts of that I was like you, parts I liked and didn't like, because it was kind of cartoonish a little bit. We go to Dustin Rhodes versus Bob Cook. I like watching Bob Cook. Doc, your thoughts on Dustin and Bob Cook?
Should Dustin be out there with a broken wrist this close to Starrcade?
I don't hate it.
Well, either he has a cast on and that's a weapon, or everything he does would hurt. And actually, Larry mentions that. He's like, he's not getting that cinched in because that's got to hurt his, So I thought Larry did a good job there with that.
Yeah, especially if you got a broken wrist, man. I mean, I broke my arm when I was younger. Everything you do, because those I'm not a doctor again. Like I said earlier, don't take medical advice from me.
Here comes the medical advice from Menace.
When you wiggle your fingers, man, I mean, you got them tendons and stuff that go all the way into your arm. It's not like your fingers are just there. So yeah, I mean, I think there's something to what you're saying there. I like watching Bob Cook though. He's a hell of a enhancement talent. I really want to. I haven't had a chance. I want to listen to his episode on Wolfie D's podcast to see what he's got to say.
Okay. Well, let me know how that works, and I might join you on that, whatever that means. So, yeah, good match. Good little match.
So we go to the finish. Dustin catches Cook with a knee as Cook is following him into the corner, and then we get a big boot, and then Dustin with a bulldog for the win. And, of course, I don't think there's any surprise here that Dustin would pick up the win on Bob Cook. And it was a nice little solid match with a good enhancement talent. These are the types of matches with enhancement talents that I really like because, one, Bob Cook is really good at what he does. And, when you have a decent enhancement talent, it makes Dustin look that much better. So there's that. From there, we get another Slam Jam ad before we go to the Battle of the Underdogs. We didn't see that last week, I don't think, but we've had a couple of Battle of the Underdogs matches. Here we got Mustafa Saeed, or as Harper said several weeks ago, Muhammad Saeed. Do you think it's a work when he does that, or he just really gets confused?
It's really hard to say.
Right. So he's taking on Keith Cole, who's got a super mullet and
God, that
cut.
thing. Larry called it an anvil haircut.
No, I can't say that, but I'm not going to go against Larry either.
That thing was a mess.
It's all up to interpretation, brother. That thing is airtight in terms of a crew cut and a mullet mixed.
You know who it reminded me of?
Who?
You remember in the NBA when Dwayne Shinsis was in the league?
I remember him when he played at Florida, so yes.
Right.
Yeah, I remember Dwayne Shinsis.
Okay.
Uh-huh. I could see that. Yeah.
If you're not following along with the video, just know that it is, imagine the most horrific squared up top, like buzz cut on top with a little bit like the military haircut, but worse in the sense that it's like shaped at the top and then a flowing Ricky Morton mane at the back.
Yeah, straight mullet. There's no curls in it because his hair's so straight. So it's just straight.
It is awful. Now here's the thing. Both of these guys look like decent. They got decent physiques. They look good. They're not schlubs in there for the underdog match. That's good.
Agree.
Cole does look like a great value Johnny Ace, though.
I agree.
Okay. And then my last note is, of course, the Cracker wins.
Well, I mean, what do you expect,
I was trying to put in a word for you there.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, the finish is we get a gut wrench slam by Cole, and Cole ends up pinning Mustafa for the win. These matches are interesting. I mean, this was a good match, actually. There was no mess ups, botches, or whatever. It's just you look at it, and first I could never look at Mustafa again and not think about the gangsters. Or gangstas, as Bob Caudle said in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Mm-hmm. So it's a little, it's just weird watching Mustafa as this, this version of him.
Yeah.
So at least he wasn't Terrence Blaylock. He is now Mustafa, which is crazy to think he's Mustafa as the gangsters as well. But anyway,
he's also 2 years from being in, a year and a half from being in Smoky Mountain, right?
Yeah, we're not far off because it's almost 93 right now.
Yeah.
But they don't, this is what they come in the summer, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Well, hold on. Let's do the math on this. Smoky Mountain started in
94
February.
or 93?
That's what I was about to say. Smoky Mountain started in February 92. They come in at episode 130. So that can't be 93. It's got to be 94. So I guess that's
about a year and a half.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's all right. All right, we go to Jim Ross and Larry Zbyszko. They talk about the King of Cable final with Vader and Sting that Doc has been talking about for weeks now. Boy, I bet you can't wait to review this one.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm really interested. I've never seen it. So I'm interested in what Rick Rude has for Ron Simmons. I'm interested in what Vader and Sting do because I think Vader's a good opponent for Sting. And I guess I'll be interested in Battle Bull itself. I don't know. We'll see.
I haven't watched this match in quite some time. The match between these two that always sticks out is the Super Brawl 3 match, which you are going to pants yourself when you see that.
Whoa, I'm going to pants myself. That's nice.
Yeah, Jaworski.
Harper I don't know about that either.
You and Harper will have a Jaworski contest when y'all watch that. It's
no, we've never done that before, and I don't envision us starting that.
All right. Any thoughts on the replays? Because what they're doing is they're going through Sting's.
F. Oh shit! I went too far. I got to go back. Oh shit! Okay. I locked up the goddamn fucking Google Drive. Fuck.
All right.
That's a window into a weekly occurrence as I'm watching this show.
All
God
right.
damn it! Now I got that spinning fucking circle. God damn it! When.
Okay. That's not the Google Drive doing that. That's the bandwidth and connection on your phone to whatever cell tower you're at. But okay. Well, Doc, after we watch we see they talk about the King of Cable final with Vader and Sting and a video package building up the match. We then come back to center stage where we've got Erik Watts, who is with Jim Ross. Let's go to that audio right now.
Welcome back, everyone, to WCW Saturday Night this Monday night in the Omni. It's Battle Bowl. I know that you're hoping that you got some luck. Get that one of 11 names could be yours.
Yeah, like you said, the Battle Ball, the biggest event of the year. And I'm lucky enough to maybe be one of the contestants, the Lethal Lottery. Maybe I'll be one of the 11 contestants. But hopefully, if I am, I'll get to hook it up with Rick Rude one way or the other. And Rick Rude, I've told you before, I was the last man standing. You left. But this time, I'm going to stand a little bit taller. And I seized the opportunity. Tonight, I've signed my name on a dotted line to face Rick Rude. And Rick, I'm going to be facing you a little bit later on. So get ready, because I'm not coming in tentative. I'm coming in aggressive after you.
All right, fans. So Watts and Rude later in the program. We'll look forward to that one. But right now, let's go back up to the ring.
I don't hate Erik. I thought this wasn't bad. But the more I watch him, the more he would have benefited from being brought up in a territory where he could learn and take his time. He's just not ready at this moment for primetime national television.
Let me tell you this. He might say talk big out there, but he didn't want no part of Rick Rude.
I mean, Rick Rude was a legit badass, so I mean, I'm not going to argue with you.
So it's not believable. You're doughy coming out of a college football program, so don't give me this shit.
Yeah, but I mean, he was a legit D1 athlete, so I'm not going to slight him either.
He never had the makings of a varsity athlete.
Well, he was a D1 athlete. Now, whether you think Louisville was some great program or not, the fact of the matter is...
I don't have any problems with Louisville. I like the mid
in Winnipeg.
I've been a big fan of them for years. Cincinnati, that is. I'm not going to say I have been for Winnipeg. I'm just getting into that. But yeah, I've been for some reason I like the University of Cincinnati. I have.
All right. Let's keep moving. Well, any other thoughts on Watts there? It wasn't bad.
No,
it was not terrible. It was less than a minute.
It's bad.
Okay. So now we go to Brian Pillman.
Brawl. He's not believable. He can't fire up. He just looks like the guy down at the Tasty Freeze parking lot that's going to call somebody a pussy because he's the quarterback and he can get away with it.
Okay.
Hey, man, we're having a kegger out at the light tower. Do you know that reference?
No.
Dazed and Confused.
Okay.
Awesome Texas high school movie of football from the 70s, you know?
I got to watch that. We were talking about Varsity Blues this week.
We were also talking about Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights as well. I loved Varsity Blues. Too fat, Billy Bob. Too slow. He's out there shooting a 12 gauge at the bottles in the field. I'm like, this is great.
And we're watching Friday Night Lights, the TV series, because we watched it. It's a little hokey, but we're watching it with the boy, and he's loving it. But he's like, is football really like that in these small towns? And I'm like, hard to say, but there's some truth in this, I think.
Yeah, I feel that way. When I watch Varsity Blues, I think it's a deep exaggeration of it.
Sure,
but
it's turned up to 11, just like wrestling.
It's turned up to 11, but when you watch it, as someone who goes to a lot of high school football games now in a major city, I can see how it is in the major city.
You can get there from there, you know,
quickly.
You can make that jump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next match, Brian Pillman and Barry Windham, again, because they're going for the titles at Starrcade, versus Tom Zink and Johnny Gunn. Dude, this is hilarious. Z-Man and Gunn are undefeated. I want you to remember that. They bore me to death. But once again, they are undefeated as a team. Not for long, Bubba.
Oh, man, we built them up to feed them off and for nothing.
Bruh, I think, okay, so I don't get this. Well, you know what? Give me your thoughts on it before my dogs start barking because it looks like my wife ordered something and is getting delivered right now.
Yeah, we had that a minute ago happen here too. I might have heard the background, but can you give me 34.55?
Okay, let me go back.
Actually, before that.
Okay.
Dude, Z-Man fell for fucking Pillman talking to him and like trying to shake his hand. How could you fall for that? Don't be a dope. Stay off dope.
Bro, you ain't lying. I didn't even think about it, but now that I'm rewatching it again, I'm like, why would you fall for that? You are a fucking moron.
Hey, man, remember when we used to go out and slay rats? Come on, bro. It's just me and you here.
Like, seriously.
Okay, so 34.55.
34.55. All right. I'm at 34. Yeah, here it is.
That's pretty impressive from Zink. I don't know if it was supposed to work that way, but that looked pretty awesome when he super kicked Pillman coming off the top rope.
Okay, I've seen him do this before, and I don't think I've ever talked about it, but I totally agree with you. I think it's super dangerous for both guys, but it would terrify me if I'm Z-Man because that back foot is planted in the ground as the guy is coming off the top rope. Right, you're stuck. There's no your leg. I don't know. It would scare me.
The margin for error is very, very thin.
As I say that,
from a tendon and ligament perspective.
Right, Pillman comes off the top rope. Z-Man super kicks him as he comes off the top rope. It does look actually good, as we see here on the video version. I paused it for a second. I guess his left leg isn't too much under him, so it's not too bad. It did look good. And then he super kicks Barry. His super kick in general, though, is kind of weak looking, but it is
right. The second one to Barry, I wasn't a fan of, but the thing he did to Pillman coming off the top, I thought was like, damn. If we had more of that from Z-Man, we wouldn't be all asleep for all these moves.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, did you have another timestamp?
This was no. It's just then I got into my notes. Were like, so this was really mercifully quick. But then that's a problem too.
Right. Okay.
Why?
So okay. We need to be clear. We don't like Z-Man and Gunn as a team. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
It's nothing against them technically. It's just as a package, as a gimmick, they do nothing for us.
No, but they went and shot this video. They were talking about how we put some time. We've actually put some time into making them seem like a bigger deal than just two dudes off the street. And they just ate a pin in 3.5 minutes.
That was my next point. So it wasn't that long ago. We do this big old video. They're storming the town. They got the ladies. They're being built up as this white meat babyface team. We're doing promos with them, even though the promos aren't great. We're still built. This is not like 6 months later. This is within a month's time. Essentially, you are building them up as something, and we go from that to about a 4-minute match where they eat a clean pin going into Starrcade. Now, here's the thing. I agree that Pillman and Barry needed to win a match tonight. I got no problem with that. But 100%. you invested into these two guys, which we don't think were a great gimmick or tag team, and you just buried them. Like, oh, let's just put them in a 4-minute match and they lose. It just doesn't seem like it makes much sense to me to do that to these guys if you really did believe in them. Now, here's the other side of it. Watts could have been 4 weeks in and was like, or Dusty as well, and they're like, you know what, this ain't working for us, brother. Nah, we can't go with these guys. Sure. That could have been it too.
But whatever the reason, that was fun while it lasted.
Right, it's hilarious because it's so quick. It's like, wait, I thought we were building these dudes up for something. Nope.
Right.
All right. So to finish, Gunn is firing up. He's all over Pillman and Barry. All four guys end up in the ring. Barry is going to catch Gunn with a lariat as Pillman clips Gunn's legs from under him. And then Barry pins Johnny Gunn. So Pillman and Barry win going into Starrcade, which makes complete sense. And the right guys actually do win here. We're not saying it's not the right guys who win. And that was a nice looking finish, actually. But come on. Like, Why do we waste time with these dudes and then do this? You couldn't feed 2 other people out there for the. I mean, I don't know.
Right, I'm right there with you.
Or if you're gonna have them have this match, maybe make it longer.
But then that doesn't serve the purpose for Pillman and Wyndham.
That's true. All right,
these two should have never been in the ring together ever at this point. If we're doing what I think we're trying to do.
We go to the Starrcade Control Center. We get a recap of Simmons and Rude and what has led to them wrestling at the pay-per-view for the title. We get a recap of Sting and Vader for the King of Cable title. And then Jim Ross and Shivani remind us that 5 names have already been chosen for the Lethal Lottery. Sting, Cactus, Johnny B. Bad, Dan Spivey, and Van Hammer. So Sting is going to be a pretty busy dude. He's got to be involved in a tag match. And then he's going to, if he wins... Spoiler alert, that probably happens. He then has to, be in Battle Bowl. Plus, he's got to be involved with the King of Cable. So, Sting
that feels like some Watts shit. You know how we can save some money around here, right?
Let's have this man work 24 hours today and pay him for 8. That's what they did.
Right.
Any thoughts on this segment, though?
No, none at all. But wouldn't you, right there, that face that JR was making, wouldn't you crack up if he goes, and kids, in about 32 years, I'm going to plug Missy Hyatt.
Shut up. Leave JR alone.
Man, I'm not dogging on him. I'm impressed.
Yeah, good for him, man.
He's got Missy Hyatt on in the log, and I don't.
I didn't think about it until you said it on the show last week when you were talking about on his show when he'd be plugging Blue Chew, and he's like, when he's plugging the Don Crouton, and he's like, yeah, I got a little action this week, and you would tell me,
who knew?
You would tell me like, man, it's weird. JR his wife died not that long ago, and he's talking about Blue Chew and how he got a little action, and I'm like, what's he getting action with? And all along, it might have been Missy Hyatt. Again, consenting adults. It's great. Right. It's just that when you hear one of the voices of your wrestling fandom when you were young talking about Don Croutons right after his wife passed away untimely in a tragic way, you're like, it's a little weird. And then the alleged news comes out that they were rocking each other's world, as was reported. Anyway. We'll keep moving. Any other thoughts on the Battle Bowl Starrcade 92 Control Center with JR?
None.
Well, let's go with one of the big matches of the week this week. It is Rick Rude versus Erik Watts. Doc, I actually thought Watts works over the leg and he tries to ground Rude and he does a good job and Rude fights back like early on. I felt Erik wasn't too bad here. What did you think?
First of all, Watts came out second, which is bullshit.
Because the champ comes out last and
the champ comes out last.
Okay. That's a fair criticism.
Second.
Okay.
We need to take our boot off of Watts' neck for a minute. I got a question for you.
Okay.
Rick Rude tells us that he would like for all these inner city sweat hogs to sit down, keep their mouths shut.
Okay.
Is that some code words, Mike?
No.
No?
No.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of white people in that building, so I mean, like, he's talking to everybody.
Okay. He wasn't just talking to you. He was talking to me and Harper too. That's what
I see. Saying. I mean, he's talking. There's white women there. I mean, there's women of all persuasions in there. I mean,
okay.
And let's be real. Rick Rude as a heel is a prick to everybody.
That's true.
The most offensive thing he said was
what he said about the Native American people, the first peoples.
Yeah.
So we remember that. Oof,
yeah. I mean, Rick Rude's a equal opportunity all around heel. So no, I'm not. There's no code there. He's just being a heel, man.
I disagree with you, but whatever. I
mean,
are we allowed to disagree with one another? Are you going to cancel me now?
No. We are allowed to disagree. I'm trying to think of the Stanfield Lane equivalent of what Rude just said. Because remember in the Smokies, he's like, what did he say? We got to fly our women in, and you filthy mountain animals, keep your fat, sweaty paws off of us. I'm trying to think of what if he tried to Rick Rude it by saying inner city at center stage, which he never did. No. I'm trying to think of a Stanfield Lane one. What would he say?
I don't know, but that's a good correlation.
Anyway, okay, go ahead.
All right. Well, I said my note during this match was, so now we're making Watts look credible. If Watts pins Rude, I am quitting this show.
So I'll never know this. I don't know if Rick Rude ever talked about this. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, post a comment and enlighten us. I feel, not knowing if Rick Rude ever said this, in my mind, I think Rick Rude was, first, he's a champion. That's one thing. So you can't pin him clean in the middle of the ring on a Saturday night. Not when he's about to wrestle, spoiler alert, supposed to wrestle Ron Simmons at Starrcade.
What's that mean?
So, but I feel like.
Wait, what are you talking about? I haven't watched Starrcade yet.
Okay, even if Rude was told, hey, you're going to go out there and put Erik over tonight, I feel like Rick Rude looked at Watts and Hogan finger waved him and said, I'm not doing shit.
I don't even think you do that. I bet he walks out the back door, gets in his car, and leaves.
No. Rick Rude's a tough guy. If Watts told him that, he was like, not happening. And because I feel like of all the people in that locker room, not saying Arn would eat shit, but obviously he has been. Bobby's been eating shit. I feel like Rick Rude would look at him and not only from a physical standpoint not fear him, but from a mental standpoint be like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing it. And what you gonna do about it? And I feel like Watts is smart enough to be like, okay, you're my U.S. champion. Fine. Do some kind of finish. That makes sense. I again, pure speculation. I have no clue if that's what happened. But I feel like Rick Rude is not going to allow Bill Watts to bully him. Can we agree to that?
100%.
He's not the bully. You ain't bullying Rick Rude, is how I feel. All right. On to the rest of the match.
We're going to get to the finish here. He fucks up Erik Watts.
Here's the thing. Rude sold for him.
I get it. That's fine. I'm not mad at that.
He sold for him. So we're going to go to the finish here. Here comes the finish. Erik goes for a crossbody on Rude, but misses and spills under the bottom rope onto the floor.
Now you're in trouble, son.
There it is. Rude.
Watch your ass, boy.
Rude then hits a rude awakening on the floor on Watts.
Now, would this hurt Rude? I mean, this looks painful for him to deliver.
I mean, it's not fun on the concrete doing that move because you're taking a bump. You're just basically taking a flat back bump on the concrete. Well, Erik is. Rude is kind of taking it on his hip, which, to be honest with you, I don't know if that's as bad. That might be worse than just taking a flat back bump because
that's what I was thinking. Because you're not distributing the force.
Yeah, the way he takes that on his right hip, that kind of hurt.
It's concentrated in one spot with a lot of hardware underneath it that could get jiggled around. Yep.
So he hits the rude awakening. Rude rolls into the ring. The ref is counting. Watts does get back in the ring, is on the ring apron. Rude suplexes Watts in. 1, 2, 3 wins the match. So he doesn't win it with the Rude Awakening in the ring. He hits it on the outside, but then he rolls him in, hits the suplex, and 1, 2, 3. I did like this because I thought they played it pretty well. Like, Watts really had Rude on the run for a lot of it. And Rude is selling. He's still selling his leg right here. And I also like how Larry Zbyszko talks about how Watts' inexperience here didn't help him. Like, he went for the crossbody and missed it. And if he doesn't miss it, maybe the outcome's different. So, like, I thought they sold this the right way. Like, the way the commentary talked about it and the way Rude puts over Watts. So, what'd you think?
It's
I know
fine.
you hate Erik Watts.
Not my favorite, but I'm not like, I was playing a little bit. I'm not like butthurt about it.
I'm always down on Erik Watts. I think he should not have been put in this position, but at the end of the day, I do think that this was not terrible.
No, it's fine. You're all right. It's okay.
But I think we both can agree the right guy won.
Well,
yeah. Continuing along, let's go to Ron Simmons, who's backstage with Teddy Long. He's going to cut a promo. Here that is.
Thanks, Jim. You know, Ron, we're just 2 days away from Starrcade 92. This Monday night, live on pay-per-view, you will face ravishing Rick Rude for the WCW World title. Now, Rude has come out on national TV. He knows very well about your shoulder injury. But, Ron, the thing that concerns me is later on tonight, you're going to be going one-on-one with beautiful Bobby Eaton. Michael Hayes is going to be in his corner. Now, brother, you may make it to Starrcade 92, but will you make it in one piece?
Listen to me, Teddy. You, of all people, should know me better than anyone. I've spent some time with you. Rick Rude might know about the shoulder injury, but what he don't know is what's in Ron Simmons' heart, what's in his gut. Listen, and as far as tonight is concerned, look, when you have this belt around your waist, listen to me, they come from the woodwork, the Bobby Eatons, everybody, Steve Austin, the Rick Rude. Hey, listen, Michael Hayes is no threat to me being in the corner. Tonight, if Bobby Eaton think he can take this belt from around Ron Simmons' waist, let me tell you something. Bring it on, and I can promise you this. You better be at your best, because all of the talking, when all of the talking and all of the crying is done, one thing will be for sure. There'll be one man that'll be remaining in that ring, and he will be the world's heavyweight champion.
I thought that was solid from Ron Simmons there. What'd you think?
I thought it was pretty good, man. Hey, when you're wearing this belt, they come out of the woodworks.
Me ain't lying.
There you go, man. Everybody wants the big chair until they get it.
From
now, I have something to ask you.
Okay.
I wish Harper was here, but we'll mark this down for when he comes back.
Yeah, put that in your
Not only
Harper
are we not
folder
sure
on
about
your
these
phone.
lockers, but these lockers are color-coded. The heels stand in front of the orange lockers, and the baby faces stand in front of the blue lockers.
I think they're more red than orange, but okay.
Whatever. With my recent blindness and needing readers, I might also be going colorblind. It's a possibility.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that is they do seem to do that. The babies seem to stand in front of the blue locker.
So we have color-coded, possibly fake lockers. Got it.
That's what it seems like.
We'll put our correspondent, Hard Buddy Harper, on the case.
Who notices the little things? You ever notice how he points out little things? And then when you ask him about certain little things, he's like, I don't know. What do you want me to do, man? Like,
He acts like he's above all little things, but there's little things that really mess him up. And when they do, he gets stuck, but he'll be like, what are you talking about?
Bro, like 3 weeks ago, he told me I was like a person who uses a wheelchair and doesn't need it because I shaved my head. That is the most ridiculous comparison I've ever heard in my life for somebody who shaves their head who has hair.
It made sense to him.
He's so triggered by that. Bro,
So you're not going to play all this. You're not about to play all this next segment, are you?
Well, yeah, let me get into it. So I'm not playing it, but because it's way too long. It's Tony Schiavone is up close and personal with Marcus Bagwell, big babyface Marcus Bagwell. Schiavone says Bagwell is about to be named Rookie of the Year. They remind us that he was in Battle Bowl last year, and he made it far and was successful for the most part in his first major show because it was his first big event. And I thought it was meat and potatoes. It really is white meat babyface. I don't know how else to say it. It's pretty long. They show a lot of clips from last year's Starrcade with Bagwell involved. Any thoughts on it, Doc?
Here's my thought. He's been there a year already. Damn.
It doesn't seem like it, but yeah.
It doesn't seem like it. Otherwise, I mean, I didn't see this part of his career. I caught him, once he was already established. So he's better than I would have assumed he would be at this point in his career. And that's a compliment. I'm not trying to be a dick about it, but he's better than I would have assumed.
You can
like if I'm
see
WCW, I'm like, we got something here with this kid. We got to, make sure he gets there, but
I agree. You can see a solid mid-card talent with him.
And maybe more, who knows? We're putting our view on him because we know how he turns out, but you don't know. It might click here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, is he's still a baby in the wrestling world.
Yeah. We go from there to another video package of Battle Bowl. Jim Ross throws through a package with Battle Bowl participants, and they show Scorpio, Johnny B. Bad, Cactus Jack, Van Hammer, Steve Austin, Sting, Barbarian. They all take like a few seconds each in this package. It's quick sound bites more than anything. Doc, do you have anything from it?
No, I thought it was all right, though. I thought it was different for what they normally do, and I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. I just didn't need to hear from Van Hammer.
That's fair. That's always fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll continue along. The next match is Shanghai Pierce and Tex Schlesinger versus Cactus Jack and Johnny B. Bad. So remember, Cactus and Bad, they keep playing it over and over every single week in their interactions, are two of the people who are they've already been chosen to tag at Starrcade. So I guess it makes sense. That's why they're putting them in here in this match to get things started. And their two gimmicks could not be any more different. And I guess I want to just leave it at that. Doc, let me go to you. What are your thoughts from this match? If any.
My first thought was Cactus should turn on JBB like he did with him and Abby used to do. Then I started wondering if Cactus and Tex and Shanghai would all turn on JBB. And then I thought, well, maybe not, because Cactus needs Johnny B. Bad to be successful at Battle Bowl, so that doesn't make a lot of sense. More to come on that in a second.
That is the one concept of the Lethal Lottery that to me makes sense, even though I hated last year's with all the tag, because it was just overkill on tag matches. But that's the one concept that makes the most sense to me, is if you're picked with someone who you don't like, don't get along with, well, guess what? You better figure it out, because if you, even though you don't like them, for you to continue in Battle Bowl and have a chance to win it all, your team has to win. So you're screwing yourself if you do something to your teammate. That does make it a little bit intriguing, but go ahead.
Have we ever discussed the fact that Johnny B. Bad's finisher is an illegal move?
The left hook?
Yeah.
I mean, no, but it's all subjective.
I don't think so. I think a closed fist is an illegal move.
I mean, you know how it is in wrestling. We kind of make the rules as we go.
Okay,
that's fair.
I just wanted AI Watts to know that I'm on to him. So there's that.
It kills me when old timers won't recognize that. They will do mental, like, I guarantee you, if you were talking to somebody like Cornette right now, or I don't know if Ole was still living, just one of these purists, that
Tommy Rich,
just anybody, like, they would do mental gymnastics to explain to you why that left hook was not illegal.
He's opening his fist when it gets to his head, right?
But I mean, I would love to hear, like, they would come up with something like that.
Okay, that's fair. All right, well, get us through this match.
What's the difference between that and like a knee drop on somebody's head?
One's illegal and one isn't.
No, a knee drop is just as bad. Dude, you could punch somebody in the head and not kill them. You drop your knee on somebody's head, you might kill them.
Why is booze legal and cocaine not? They're both drugs.
Oh, I thought you were going, well, I don't know about cocaine.
Well, I was going to say marijuana, but in some places that are listened, this marijuana is legal. So I had to go to something that was illegal everywhere.
Okay, but marijuana, I'm not even a weed head, and marijuana should be legal. It's stupid that it's not.
I'm not trying to get your political opinions. I'm just saying things are the way they are.
That's not even a political opinion. That's just let people live.
Everything's political. It's 2024. Come on.
That's so true, boy. You can't say nothing without somebody thinking it's a political statement. We just said that Johnny B. Bad is doing something illegal with his left hand. Somebody can turn that into a political statement, but we'll continue. Let's go to the finish of this match. So Cactus is getting double teamed, so Bad comes in to help. Slashinger takes a bump to the outside. Meanwhile, in the ring, Bad hits a standing Hurricane Rana on Pierce and then the sunset flip off the top rope. But Cactus breaks up the pin attempt by Bad, and Cactus goes for the pin, but Pierce then kicks out. Cactus and Bad are now pushing and shoving, and Bad just punches and decks Cactus. Pierce goes for the pin, but Bad breaks that up, even though he knocked out his own teammate Cactus, but Cactus ends up being okay. And then Bad throws the left hook at Pierce, and Cactus comes in and pins Pierce. Then after the match, Bad and Cactus continue going at it, which ends with Cactus DDT and Bad, and he leaves him in the ring. Chaos, I tell you, and I got no other thoughts from it. This was a whole lot of shenanigans, dude.
I got no idea how this plays out. None. Zero. But I'm going to tell you, there's a potential with this Beauty and the Beast tag team here. They could do something with this. I doubt they will, but I'm just telling you, Johnny B. Bad and Cactus would make an interesting tag team. They were stuck together and are forced to work together by Watts or whatever, and they can't get along. There's something there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree with you. There is something there with these two. They are interesting together.
Yeah, I'm just trying to book a territory. That's all.
Yeah, but that finish, how much stuff is going on there? I'm not sure
what that was trying to achieve, but okay.
Yeah, and you watched it on the video version with us, tinyurl.com/Patreon BTT. You saw it. Man, it was something. And remember, if you sign up and go annual during the month of June 2024, you get 2 months for free. So sign up now.
Did you say go
check
anal?
all that out. Annual.
Oh.
You know what I said. That's a
dick. That's a big difference.
Let's go now to Rick Rude and Medusa. They're cutting a promo. They were Tony Schiavone in front of the red lockers or orange, depending on your color blindness. Here they are.
It's a WCW Saturday Night. In a few moments, we'll go to the ring. The world champion Ron Simmons in singles competition. But in 2 days at Starrcade, he'll face this man, Ravishing Rick Rude, along with Medusa for the world heavyweight title. But early on, U.S. champ, you had a scrap with young Erik Watts, a youngster who will not give up.
That's right. Erik Watts is a punk kid with a lot of guts. But I'm not through with Erik Watts. I'm starting to begin with Ron Simmons. 2 days from today, Starrcade 92. It's time for me to trade in this United States title for a brand new World Heavyweight Championship. Ron Simmons, you are the power in the WCW, and I will fight the power. Ron Simmons, I have exposed your weakness. You have a severely torn shoulder. Fight the power, win the title by any means necessary. See you at Starrcade, Ron.
Let's go to the ring for our main event on TBS.
Man, Rude seems like he means business. If I was a betting man, I might put some money on him. So we have to stay tuned to see what happens, Doc. What are your thoughts?
Looking forward to that match. And when did Rick Rude turn into Chuck D and Malcolm X?
Okay. Any means necessary.
Fight the power.
Fight the power. Let's move along. Ron
911
Simmons.
Did you ever like Public Enemy? Did you listen to them back in the day?
A little bit, not ton, but yeah, a little
Man,
bit.
that was some good shit.
Okay, I can see you bobbing and weaving to that.
Damn right, brother. Elvis was a hero to... Oh, sorry.
Fight the power. Yeah, boy.
Man, Chuck D was about it. Shit made me want to, like, not be so melanin challenged. You know what I mean? I want to get into this. This sounds real.
Ron Simmons is taking on Bobby Eaton in the next match. Let me tell you something, man. Bobby Eaton is so goddamn great. He is never out of position. I sound like I'm talking about Arn here because they're both the same in this way. Every bump is textbook. I've got a timestamp at 1:14:50. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. But I should go to you first and see if you've got something else before that.
No, I don't have I don't have much here at all. But I'm gonna say, man, I was watching Bobby and I was like, I think this is true. I mean, I'm not 100% sure when I say this, that Bobby's not going to get a huge run ever again here.
Yeah, I guess it depends what you define as huge.
Right. But how good he is in this match made me go, God, that sucks.
Don't feel bad for him, though, because, I mean, you think about it. He's on payroll from basically 1985 all the way to the end.
I got you.
So he earned a living. Like,
that's right. That's the most important thing is to get these gimmicks in the mail. You know, you got to pay them.
Yep. So the timestamp I have here at 1:14:50, Simmons sends Bobby from corner to corner, and Bobby takes 2 turnbuckles, and then Bobby takes great backdrops. And and you're going to see it in a second. And it's just like it's textbook when you watch him do it. Like, first Simmons sends him off. Bobby hits the corner hard. Sends him off. Bobby hits it. And then look at him. He just... Like, that one wasn't even his greatest, but he still takes it great. Boop. And he's just a bumping machine. He's so great. So great.
Hard to argue with any of that.
Yeah. I'm going to go to 1:16:50 here because they're fighting on the floor. And Bobby takes just a vicious hip toss on the concrete. You think, oh, well, that's nothing.
That hurt my heart.
But it's good. And I mean, it's just Bobby selling and just doing his thing. Here it goes. Boop. Yeah.
Wish we had some mats out there.
Oh, they're coming back once Watts is gone.
Okay.
Any other thoughts, Doc, before I continue here?
No, I think this did for Ron what the Watts match did for Rude. It's like, it's getting it ready.
I agree. So you get a backdrop by Simmons. Hayes gets on the apron, but Simmons hits him off. And then Ron Simmons sends Bobby in and gives him a power slam. Ron Simmons wins 1-2-3. Right guy won. I hate that Bobby's getting the treatment he gets here, but it is what it is. I mean, at this point, Ron Simmons is your world champion. So
correct.
I'm, not surprised one bit at this.
Correct.
Any other thoughts, Doc, before we go to Simmons' promo with JR?
Let's hit it, man.
Here it is.
Thanks very much. And Ron, what a power slam. Okay, the big question here, 2 days away from Starrcade. How is your shoulder? How are you going to be able to hold up against ravishing Rick Rude?
Let me tell you this, Jim. I'm going to hold up the way Ron Simmons has always held up. I haven't ran away from anything. I played injured in football in Florida State and in the professionals. This is nothing new to me. If ravishing Rick Rude wants a part of Ron Simmons, he better bring it all.
You came from the ghetto. You became an All-American. You became the world heavyweight champion. 2 days from today, Ron Simmons, I will take your world title belt and I will send you back to the ghetto.
Hey, come on. Let's get out of it. Let's get to a break.
I love that. Ron ain't here to listen to you flap your gums and talk about you going to send me back to the ghetto. Just decks him and lays him out. Good stuff. They get in and out. Perfect. Your thoughts?
Simple. They made a little bit of contact there, enough to make it seem like, we got a personal issue here. So it's done.
So it's done. Good stuff. From there, we go to.
I didn't have to spend 15 minutes waiting for entrance music and blah blah blah. It's like, look, pal, we're about to get this thing on, and I'm going to send you back somewhere you don't want to go. The hell you are.
From there, we go to the Family Man and Shane Douglas. I after we listened to that music last week.
Poor Ricky.
Family Man and Shane Douglas versus Randy Sledge and Mike Thor. Doc, this was
so
quick.
Fast I didn't have a chance to catch my breath.
So from bell to bell, it might have been 50 seconds.
That was some Magnum TA belly to belly suplex action right there.
Yeah, basically Shane Douglas hits a forearm and then a belly to belly on, I believe it was Sledge, and Douglas and Steamboat win just like that. And
just like that.
It's literally over.
You move just like that.
A couple weeks back, you said Douglas was starting to look like the franchise. The yellow tights, the boots. It's the transformation is definitely there at this point.
Yeah.
I don't have a doubt in my mind. You can see it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to a promo from Family Man and Douglas. Here that is after their match.
Thanks again, Larry, and you guys wasted no time. This Monday night tonight, it'll all be on the line, and Wyndham and Pillman, no doubt, are ready.
You know something, Jim Ross? We just showed right there a clear example. Pillman and Barry Windham, they get out here and they do an interview in what they call us nothing happening champions, that we're closet cases, that you want to do it, we're going to do it right.
All right, well, Pillman and Wyndham in the ring. The fight is on here, Larry.
They're not waiting for Starrcade, that's for sure. They're not waiting at all, Jim. They both got Pillman in the ring.
Here come the referees to get some order here. This match cannot go on, I'll tell you that. Pillman knocked down, Wyndham was knocked outside. Let's get some, this is a little chaotic here, fans. We'll be back. We will be back. We've got a few more minutes and we'll be right back.
So,
man, this is where I would always be like, JR, you need to shut the fuck up. We can do this right now. I don't have money to get to pay-per-view. Nobody's going to get this for me. This is the way I can see this right here, right now. Don't say we can't do this. Let's do this.
Well, they go to commercial and come back, and it seems like they're going to do it because they're out there still, and they're still flapping gums, and Wyndham and Pillman are with JR, and they're cutting a promo, and they're going back and forth with Steamboat and Douglas, who were backstage in front of the blue lockers. And Steamboat says, "Let's finish it now." So now all four of them are brawling again, and this is Watts 101 booking. Let the stuff hit the fan, and guess what? That's it. We're out of time. Saturday night is over. Starrcade is upon us. Call your local cable company now. We're headed to our 8th Starrcade review. I mean, I don't know. This is it. We're out of time. Your thoughts, Doc?
I don't hate that you say that's Watts Booking 101. I've never hated that. I always kind of liked it, to be honest. So I got no problem with this. And I like what we're doing here with these two teams. I do.
So on that note, we'll go to a word from AI Jim Ross.
It's almost time to rate this show and hand out the Rolex or Toot Toot Award. Before the fellas do that, don't forget to become a BTT Patreon member by going to tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. When you sign up, you'll get tons of extra shows. There are 400 plus Patreon shows, including video versions of the main shows, the world-class shows with Lance and Mike, the NWA Legacy cast with Sparks and the Lil Fella Half Pint, and the ECW shows with Mike Prue, Rick Beebe, and JV. Don't sleep on the JV Goon Squad. Those guys are great, too. Additionally, Mike and Doc have covered many episodes of Dark Side of the Ring and Tales from the Territories on Vice. You'll also get reviews of all of the Clash of the Champions specials up until where the guys are currently at, and all of the WCW pay-per-views as well through this current time period. All of that and much more for just a few bucks a month. Don't wait. Sign up now and get all of that sweet extra audio gold from the best damn Outlaw Mud Show podcast on the planet.
Thank you, AI Jim Ross. Doc, on that note, it's time to rate it. Hand out the Rolex or Toot Toot Award. What are you going to rate this one?
Had a good time.
Yeah?
Let's don't overthink it. Let's don't make it too difficult. I think I'm going to give this an A-.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good go-home show. I'm going to go A- as well.
But what I don't know is what I'm going to do next.
I'm listening.
I'm thinking.
There's plenty of candidates.
There are. I'm stuck.
Ain't that fucking hot,
No,
guys?
it is. It is. It is. I've got two thoughts in mind, and I think I'm going to give it to both fellas here. I'm going to go with Rude and Simmons. I think they did a good job of getting us ready for their big title match, and they both cut good promos. Then they had some contact, and I liked it. So I'm going to go with those two.
I'm messing with you talking about it ain't that hard, but
it's that hard.
Kind of torn between Barry and Pillman, but I'm going to go Rude and Simmons as well. I think they deserve it. Yeah, they get the Toot Toot Award. And don't you find it just ridiculously painful that here we are, the eve or the week before we cover our 8th Starrcade on BTT, and Arn Anderson is nowhere to be found.
Who's that?
I mean, Arn Anderson, I mean, I get it, injury, yeah,
I don't.
Sure, or whatever. Well, actually, I don't get it. Watts is just burying him, but I just find that just so unsettling.
Criminal.
Very much criminal. Hey, as we know, Harper started his questions where if you PayPal him $5, he'll send a question. So here's another word from AI Jim Ross before we get out of here this week and we wrap this show up before we go to our 8th Starrcade.
Harper's crying broke after AI Bill Watts fined him $69,000 and banned the Coyote. And we keep hearing that you all want Harper to answer questions on the main show. Harper is ready to take your questions. Grab a pen and paper because here comes some directions. If you want your question or questions answered, first send Harper $5 per question to his PayPal at cc30388cc@yahoo.com. After you send Harper that sweet, sweet cheddar, email your question or questions to Chris Harper, 16wildcat @gmail.com. That's wildcat with a K, and bookingtheterritory @gmail.com. Also, make sure you state in your email what your name is and what your PayPal address is that you sent the money from. Remember, one question per $5. Kids, get your parents' permission before sending your cheddar and emailing your questions. Lastly, if you missed the PayPal or email addresses, check the show notes and description for the details.
So I love how Harper is like, no, send it to me. I'll start getting questions and I don't know who's paying him. He can't. Harper's not a good businessman. I can't get him to understand that. I'm arguing with him about that. Harper, no, they're PayPaling you. So the questions need to go to you. They can come to me too, but they have to go to you too. That way you know who's paying you for their questions.
Right.
People,
why are you all? Hey, why are you yelling at me? I am not involved in this, and I side with you. Back up.
I sound like Harper getting angry at people asking questions.
Right. You sound like Harper because Harper's triggering you. That's what's happening, and I have no business with any of this stuff. I'm just looking to hit the tagline.
Before we get out of here, I just wanted to say that. I want to repeat that. I had to listen back because I was editing it when you were like, why do you answer so angry? His exact words were, I don't. And you're like, yes, you are. No, I'm not. He's getting pissed at you. And you're like, you're doing it right now. He's like, it doesn't make me angry. Dude, you sound freaking like you're boiling over.
Yeah, I was there. I get it.
All right. Well, all right, Doc. On that note, anything else before we wrap up this week's episode of BTT and we head off to Starrcade?
No, I've got some CFL scouting reports to pour through and get ready for the season and get my mind right with Canadian Football League.
I hear you, man. That sounds like a plan. I'm going to do the same. Well, Doc, you know the drill. Hit the tagline. Let's roll.
Book it, bitch.
Congratulations on making it to the end of this week's show. Don't forget to send your comments about what the guys discussed tonight to Luke Hawks on Facebook and on Twitter or X or whatever the piss they call it now. The rumor is Luke likes answering BTT fan mail. Also, do the guys a solid by liking the show's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. And don't forget to like and retweet or repost the show on all social media platforms. Lastly, become a BTT patron member where you get tons of extra shows. You can join at tinyurl.com/BTT Patreon. Until next week, so long, everybody.